Hey folks, here's the second in a series of 3 short interviews from the People's V event. And again, there are some bleeps during this video because the platforms won't allow you to say certain words. It's kind of 1984, but there you go. So this is Dr. Jonathan Engler, a very erudite man, legally and with pharma trial experience. And we go through more of the mRNA mayhem. I've just met Dr. Jonathan Engler at the People's Vaccine Inquiry. And Jonathan, you're a doctor, a lawyer, and you're an expert in pharmaceutical trials, I believe.
I wouldn't necessarily say an expert, but I have experience in designing, running, and managing clinical trials to regulatory standards. That was how I started off in my career.
Yeah, that's like Professor Peter Gutcha. One of the great things about him was he understood the stats and the trial machinations. So I was just going to do a quick chat with you here at the inquiry on your top or key points around this whole debacle, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, my key points are that these products, particularly the mRNA products, that's mainly what we're talking about because those are the ones still being given and those are the ones that we are trying to get taken off the market immediately. These products are not like traditional vaccines, and yet everybody has been told that they are. So people basically have thought that it's like going for a flu jab. Doctors and healthcare professionals have also considered these just to be maybe a more novel, modern, sort of precise way of delivering vaccine compared to what the previous traditional vaccines, and the regulators have also treated these as if they were traditional vaccines, which means that the manufacturers have been able to skip very important parts of the preclinical safety that would apply to non-vaccine products. And yet the mode of action of these products is nothing like a traditional vaccine, in fact nothing like any other drugs at all.
Yeah, they're astonishing. I mean, the nanoparticle, they get into the cell, they're picked up and actually cloned by your own cells, cytoplasm or whatever. The whole thing is kind of science fiction-y stuff. An immunologist told me once in mid-2020 that this whole debacle of the cold or the COVID is all around the vaccines and mRNA particularly. He predicted that the non-mRNA technology would be found to be less than ideal, which happened, and that it would take 30 years to get RNA in at best, like GMO, but this would bring it in 6 months. Wasn't he prophetic?
He was indeed. It's actually worth pointing out that even if you believed that there was a pandemic of something that needed mass vaccination, and even if you believed that delivering a protein from the virus, purported protein from the virus, would help to prevent you becoming ill, there were existing technologies for doing that. So we already have a range of what are called protein subunit vaccines, which the protein is mass produced and it's just a tiny part of the protein that is actually administered. So that was always an option. If they chose to produce a spike protein based vaccine, that would have been an alternative way of doing it, which would have eliminated many of the unknowns.
Yeah, of course, but the platform, I think, was the goal. And the immunologist pointed out as well, the potential for profits is beyond belief because of the incredible ease of volume production compared to traditional methods. So here we are. You know, a funny one that Claire Craig showed, it showed the graph of COVID mortality, if you even believe PCR positive really caused the death. And it was going up and then leveling off as we had population immunity. And then when you put a line where they introduced the magic mRNA sauce, the curve continued without being in the slightest perturbed. Yeah. Like a 10-year-old could see that the magic sauce had no real effect on the course of this cold. Yeah. And yet they claim enormous figures of lives saved. I mean, it's quite absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd. Completely absurd. I mean, I don't happen to believe that the COVID test can reliably diagnose a unique illness caused by a unique novel pathogen. So I think the whole thing is complete nonsense anyway.
Nonsense, Jonathan, is a word I use more during this cold phase than my lifetime before. It's absolutely insane. Well, we're going to finish up because you guys got to get dinner. Any last just key point you'd raise or closing statement?
I mean, I suppose my closing key point would be that going back to the fact that these products are nothing like any other product ever given, even in relatively small quantities, let alone into billions of arms. But just consider the fact that the lipid nanoparticles, when injected, go everywhere in the body. And the reason they go everywhere in the body is because they were designed to do that. So when regulators were telling people that the product is broken down into the arm, they either knew or ought to have known that what they were saying was untrue.
Absolutely. More absurdity heaped upon absurdity. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Pleasure.
That'll do it, folks. We sure are in challenging times, but we will prevail. And now I'd like to just give a quick word on something close to my heart. And that thing is the ownership of physical gold. Let's take a super quick look. I actually moved into this based on kind of insider information from investment communities back in late 2020 at around $1,830. It then went on a few weeks ago before the election to hit almost 2,800, and now there's been a small correction down to 2,560. But the key point is that gold will not always go up in a straight line. There will be volatility. Sometimes money has to be extracted from gold to cover positions or shorts or in a market crash, by all means. And the election has had an effect, and the sudden sense of stability after someone being actually chosen, and some more money has gone into the risk markets. You know, the stock markets have gone up. So these movements will occur. Many would view this as a kind of a buying opportunity now because it's corrected downwards. But the real crucial thing from all the best people I follow and I networked with in the macroeconomics community is that gold over the next few years, especially 5 to 10 years, will be an incredible hedge against inflation, an asset that will keep on rising and is solid, real world asset. Just like commodities that many are getting into now, commodities are likely heading into a super cycle in the coming 5 to 10 years, and they will be the place to be and not the tech-driven stock market. It's a long-term play, and that's the real key point to make here. The reasons why gold is so crucially important, physical gold that is, not the paper gold, not the shares, a lot of it is to do with central bank buying. So central banks are kind of the smartest guys in the room, love them or hate them, it's just a reality, and they are amassing physical gold given the geopolitical moves of the past years. So the last 4 or 5 years particularly, the pace of acquisition has increased continuously. There's a small minority of people who are informed on this, so you may not hear a mainstream, but the Kabisi letter came out the other day, very respected capital investment outfit, and the percentage, as they say, has skyrocketed this year, more than doubled over the last decade of central bank buying. The BRICS and Poland and other specific countries are the biggest contributors. But over time, we are seeing that all countries are beginning to balance their per capita gold ownership. So the figures for China are way smaller than in reality, I would suggest. And of course, gold prices are hitting all-time highs as a result. So long-term, this trend ain't going to change, could even accelerate. So it is the physical asset to be in these troubled times. So whether it's personal assets or wealth, family assets, pension, whatever. My personal opinion, based on extensive research and a huge network of people in this general field, is that it's crucial to have a percentage of your assets in physical gold. We'll wrap it up with who I believe are the best people to deal with in this matter, and that's Pure Gold Company in the City of London. They have a couple of premises there. They have vaults around the world, including in America, which can store your physical gold, or of course they will ship securely if you want to keep it yourself, but that's your own business. They've given me a followers deal where you get a free consultation with their experts, way beyond physical gold, silver and platinum, a general financial discussion. And they will also offer 6 or potentially 12 months free storage while you decide which way you want to go. Do you want to personally hold it? Many people go that route. So the link is down below, completely up to you. As I say, I wouldn't go anywhere else other than the guys at Pure Gold. I think they're a superb outfit. And maybe just consider adding gold to your portfolio for security and future preservation of wealth. That'll do it.